Tennessee basketball's roster construction is starting to near completion. Today, they had another commitment to the fold. They had some much needed help at the guard spot, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Make sure you hit the like, the share, and if you know anybody that hasn't found the channel, share it out. If you're a returner, you like the content, have not already, hit that subscribe button. It is free. You get notifications when there is content released along the way. Amaree Abram, former Ole Miss, Georgia Tech, Louisiana Tech guard, is in the fold for Tennessee, and we'll talk about what he brings. We're going to watch a little bit of video on him, and then by my count right now, Tennessee has 2 more spots left. I'm going to talk about one of them that we talked about earlier a couple days ago. We're going to talk about that last spot. I'm going to talk about this 5th-year rule, and we'll keep talking about it as I get people disagreeing with me on this one. I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to talk about it a little bit more, and I'm going to explain to you why. And I'm not saying it won't happen, but I'm saying there's a really, really good possibility that it's not going to happen as far as being retroactive. We'll talk about that here in a minute, though. Let's talk about Amaree Abram, though. Tennessee, when we come out of the portal period, Isaac McNeely, former Virginia guard, visited. Seemed to be in pretty good shape there. He ends up going to Louisville. Rodney Rice, former Maryland guard, former backcourt mate of Jacoby Gillespie, visits. Tells Rob Lewis, FallQuest.com, point blank, I'm done with visits. Later on in the week, he goes to USC. He signs with USC, and it's said that he signed for a lot of money. Just to put it in perspective, because I've had people say, well, we should pay him the money. Rodney Rice is going to, I will say this. If a guy like Dalton Knecht come out of the portal, let's, for instance, again, knowing what we would get in him, I'm for paying that big money on it. But Rodney Rice is probably going to make double of what Dalton Knecht made here. And to me, that's just crazy on it. And I know people are liking to say, well, Tennessee's broke. There's a difference between being broke and stupid. Let's get those two out of the way. There's a difference between being broke and stupid. Broke means, yeah, you can't get anybody. Literally anybody. Stupid means you go overpay, you upset the apple cart, you piss off the locker room, and then you've got even more problems. You got chemistry, you got egos coming to the forefront. So let's get that out of the way. Broke versus stupid. Tennessee's not broke. We can stop with that. Anybody that's saying it is wrong. They're just wrong. Tennessee is not broke. They're not getting Nate Ament if they're broke. On the football, you're not getting David Sanders Jr. if you're broke. Let's use some common sense in this. Let's use some common sense in this along the way. Tennessee and what they've done with their roster, they added Jacoby Gillespie. Do you think we threw him a couple $100 bills and done? You added Jalen Carey, which I love the Jalen Carey pickup. I would venture to say you paid him a little bit of money. Nate Ament, I mean, who knows? There is the rumors out there that it was over $4 million. Is that true or not? I don't know. I don't care. All right. If that's who they saw fit to invest the money in, I'm for it. The number 2 overall ranked player in the class of 2025. I say it once. I've said it numerous times. Now, I will take one Nate Ament over the combination of Elijah Freeman and Rodney Rice. And if Nate Ament does what we think he's going to do, and for Rick Barnes to invest the time and the money in him to do it, Rick Barnes thought the exact same thing. Now you add Amaree Abram to the fold. Let's look at some video on him and what he brings to the fold. He's left-handed. Rob Lewis of AllQuest.com described him as a guy. Tennessee's getting a big physical veteran guard who is coming with the SEC experience. He started out at Ole Miss, played 1 year when Kermit Davis was dismissed. Abram hit the portal. Then he went to Georgia Tech. Something just didn't jive there. God said he only played in 10 games. And then went to Louisiana Tech, averaged over 12 points per game, average over 4 rebounds, around 37% shooting as well. And Abram told VolQuest.com, he said, I feel like Tennessee made it home on my visit. I feel like the coaching staff and the environment just felt like home and made me feel welcome, and I enjoyed the visit. And he had paid attention to Tennessee. He said, I knew that they win, and they're always tough, and they just get it done. They're always in the NCAA tournament. And another thing he adds to as well is he is an excellent free throw shooter. Mid-80s is where he's been at with Ole Miss, with Louisiana Tech. Abram described himself as, I bring a lot to the table, toughness. I can be a glue guy. I can do anything the team wants. I'm a two-way player that can play on the ball or off the ball, and I can guard the ball pretty well or anything the team needs. And he can play the point. He can play the shooting guard, and he can do – it seems like, he's very much up to date on the Rick Barnes style of coaching. And he really hit it off there. Now, let's look at some of the video of him here as well. This is from Louisiana Tech. He's a left-handed guy, 6'4" or so. So let's look here where he is. He is the guy who just passed it, number 1. Here you go, lefty from the corner, bang. Here he is now. Here's what I like here. He can break it down. He's not afraid to go to the basket. Here you go. He's got some moves, not afraid to get a little bit physical. And here he is in as well. Here we go. Nice pass, good vision. A guy who can, again, look here. I mean, the physicality. That's what Tennessee has added, is a lot of physicality again this offseason. I mean, teams, you've seen their fans saying, well, Tennessee liked to play football last year. I would even venture to say this team might be a little more physical than last year's. I mean, you can tell with Abram here. He's a guy who's put together pretty well. Pretty solid dude. Same with Jalen Carey. You're getting a bruiser in Jalen Carey who's coming into the fold. So, this team here, again, I like what I'm seeing. I'm not sitting here telling you he's going to go average 20 points a game, or I'm not telling you any of that stuff along the way. But I think he explained it. He can do a little bit of everything here as well. He can handle the ball very well, and I'll stop sharing on that one and get a little bit more. But, a guy who can handle it, who can do, numerous things here as well. You got to like that with it. And this team, to me, you got 2 spots left. Right now, I think your starting lineup looks like Gillespie, Amaree Abram, Nate Ament, Jalen Carey, Felix Okpara. You got then coming off the bench. I've seen Rob Lewis, VolQuest.com, say it numerous times that the coaching staff has been really impressed with the way Bishop Boswell has attacked his summer workouts. You think of the improvement Cade Phillips made from year 1 to year 2 on it. And if we see some improvement with Boswell, because as of right now, I think it's safe to say he would be your third guard. And we've seen, look at the improvement Jordan Gainey made from his first year on campus to his second year. It was a pretty big improvement. So Boswell's going to be a backup guard. You've also got Amari Evans, a freshman, 6'5", 204. You got Troy Henderson, who's a backup point, who could play some point. Will he get minutes? Is he more down the line there as well? Obviously, you got J.P. Estrella, Cade Phillips in here also, and Dwayne Brown. Also, Tennessee, by my counts, got 2 spots left. One, it's saying, I've finally seen it addressed by VolQuest staff that Clarence Masamba looks like a pretty good chance he's going to be in the fold. So that would leave one more. What does Tennessee want to do with that spot? There is still the talk of Jordan Gainey, getting eligible with that 5th year. And I was talking to somebody today on text about it. He is, if you've noticed in pictures with recruits, Jordan Gainey's still been there recruiting. I would love to have him back. That would be huge for Tennessee. I've read even more, watched a video on YouTube last night. I need to go back and find the source of it again. Just telling you guys, y'all can sit here and tell me all day long, some of you, this thing's going to pass and it's going to retroactively happen. And I'm not sitting here saying for sure that it won't. Every single thing that I'm reading from experts and everything, it is not going to retroactively pass. I'm telling you, based on everything. I'm an educator. I know how to research. I know what's valid out here. Okay. I don't believe every single thing that I hear or read, but I do know what solid sources are. Everything that I read, every solid source says that yes, it's probably going to pass at some point. No, it's not going to be retroactive. Here's why on it. Okay. The grandfathered part that people are talking about is in regard to roster limits. That means that if this changes, like for example, cross country's roster limits wouldn't go to 30 to 17 like they're talking, or volleyball, that their stuff changes as well. Here's what's going to happen if you were to pass the 5th-year rule and make it retroactive. How many teams out here, which is all of them, have been building their roster around the transfer portal, around guys with eligibility left? Maybe like Tennessee and teams, they're like, we'll save a spot in the event that the 5th-year rule, for some reason, does go retroactively on it, because there probably will be somebody will sue over it. But probably what's going to happen too is the same thing that's happened to Alberto Osuna of Tennessee baseball. The Pavia ruling went in, if I'm not mistaken, while his season was still going. They didn't retroactively do it. Now, I'm not saying they haven't. I don't know all of the cases on that. But with this one, what would happen if you go back and make all these people, and it would have, due to Title IX, it has to happen in every sport, or at least everyone that's affected. I don't think it would go back as far as football, but probably men's and women's basketball. You go back to that, you're going to make all these people active. And then what's going to happen as well is now teams don't have roster spots for these. What's that going to mean? The transfer portal is going to be even more full, and guys are not going to have places to go. It's basically COVID years all over again. And yeah, they can sit here and file lawsuits all they want to on it. That doesn't mean they win the lawsuits. Maybe they do. But, if this passes in July or August, right before the season, how are you going to retroactively go back to March on that? I don't think it makes sense. And, if you put it in moving forward, that's fine. But I don't see where these guys would have a case. That's why I say you never say never. I'm sticking to my guns on this one, that these guys who just graduated, we won't see them as Tennessee players again. That's based on knowledge, research, everything I've looked on, videos of people that see that are in the know, pretty good sources, articles of it as well. Not a single one that I've read has said it will be retroactive. All of it says it'll be moving forward. It's going to open up a whole can of worms. I know it will when they pass it, but I would not get my hopes. You're free to do what you want to. I'm sticking to it. I don't see it happening. With that said, I would love it if we got Jordan Gainey back another year. That would be totally awesome, and I'm all for it if they do it. But I'm really not even considered. The only reason I'm talking about it's because people keep trying to tell me that he's probably going to be on the team. He's not going to be. I don't see it happening. So make sure you hit the like, the share, the subscribe. Tennessee baseball plays 6 o'clock. They're starting about right now, actually about 10 minutes ago. I'll have a post game tonight on that. If anything else portal-wise breaks, I'll have that as well. Frank, House of Orange, have a great evening. Go Vols.